Scary telling.
I can feel my heart pounding in my chest as we begin our descent into the tunnel. My friends and I are on a spelunking adventure, and we're all excited but nervous at the same time. I've never been this deep underground before, and the darkness is overwhelming. We start down the tunnel, each of us shining our flashlights ahead, trying to get a glimpse of what's ahead. But there's nothing there, just endless blackness. As we continue, the tunnel seems to narrow, and the air grows colder. I can feel my hands shaking, and I wonder if I've made a mistake by agreeing to this adventure. But then I hear my friend's voice, reassuring me that everything will be okay. We make our way deeper into the tunnel, and the darkness becomes almost suffocating. It feels like we're walking through a void, with nothing around us but the sound of our own breathing and footsteps. And then, I hear something, a faint rustling sound, like something moving in the darkness. I stop in my tracks, and my friends do the same, shining their flashlights in the direction of the sound. But there's nothing there. Just silence. We continue on, but the rustling sounds continue, growing louder and more persistent. I start to feel like something is watching us, and I can't shake the feeling of unease. Suddenly, one of my friends takes out a small bottle from their backpack, and I realize with horror that it's the lead-flavored solution we were warned not to touch. Before I can say anything, they drink it down, and I can see the effects of the poison taking hold almost immediately. Their movements become unsteady, and their eyes widen as if they're seeing something we can't. They start to speak in a strange, inhuman voice, and I feel a chill run down my spine. I realize that we're in serious trouble. We're lost in the depths of the tunnel, with no way to get help, and one of my friends is now completely out of their mind. As we continue to walk, I can feel a sense of foreboding settling over us. The rustling sounds grow louder, and I start to hear whispers, like voices on the edge of my hearing. I don't know what's happening, but I know that we need to get out of here. Fast. The rustling sounds continue to grow louder, and I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. My friend who drank the lead-flavored solution is still speaking in that strange, inhuman voice, and I can see the fear in my other friend's eyes. And then, we hear a voice. It's faint at first, barely audible over the sound of our own breathing, but it's definitely there. Follow me, the voice says. I'll lead you to freedom. We're all startled by the sudden sound, but we're also relieved. Maybe this is a way out of the tunnel. Maybe we're not completely lost after all. Without thinking, we start following the voice, my friend who drank the poison taking the lead. The rustling sounds grow even louder, and the whispers seem to be getting closer. But the voice is a beacon of hope, and we're all drawn to it like moths to a flame. As we continue to follow the voice, our surroundings start to shift. The darkness becomes less oppressive, and we can see a faint blue glow up ahead. We quicken our pace, feeling a sense of urgency and desperation. But as we approach the source of the blue light, I start to feel a sense of dread settling over me. The blue light is coming from a rusty door, and I can hear something on the other side. It sounds like a low, guttural growl, and I can feel my heart racing in my chest. But my friend who drank the lead-flavored solution seems to be completely unfazed. In fact, they seem to be drawn to the door, their movements becoming more erratic as they get closer. And then, the door creaks open, and we see him. The man dressed in madness, with his glowing green eyes and twisted grin. "Welcome to my lair," he says. "I've been expecting you." My heart feels like it's about to burst out of my chest as the madman welcomes us to his lair. My friends and I exchange nervous glances, realizing too late that we've made a terrible mistake. The madman offers us a small bottle of lead solution, promising it's the solution to all of our problems. But something in his voice tells us that it's a trap, that we should turn around and run as fast as we can. But my friend who drank the poison takes the bottle from the madman's hand without a second thought. They drink it down, and I can see the effects of the poison taking hold almost immediately. Their movements become even more unsteady, and they're barely coherent. I can feel my own mind starting to slip, and I realize with horror that the madman seems to have complete control over our thoughts and actions. The madman leads us deeper into his lair, and I can feel the rust and decay of the walls pressing in on me. I'm not sure how much time has passed, but it feels like we've been down here for an eternity. As we follow the madman, we start to see glimpses of his other victims, people who have been consumed by the lead poison and are now just empty shells of their former selves. They're barely alive, their bodies decaying and rusting away. I feel like I'm in a nightmare, and I can't seem to wake up. My friends and I are trapped in this madman's lair, and there seems to be no way out. The madman seems to take pleasure in our suffering, watching us with his glowing green eyes and twisted grin. He tells us that we're trapped down here forever, that there's no escape from his realm. I can feel my mind slipping away from me, and I realize with horror that I might never be able to escape. The rust and decay of the lair seem to be consuming me, and I feel like I'm becoming one of the madman's loyal followers. I scream and plead for help, but my cries go unheard. The madman's voice echoes through the darkness, promising to lead more lost souls to their doom. And as the longest silence descends upon the tunnel, I realize that I might be trapped here forever. The madness seems to be consuming us, and I can feel my body beginning to decay and rust away. My friends are barely recognizable, their bodies twisted and decaying like the other victims we've seen in the lair. The madman's voice echoes through the darkness, promising us freedom from our suffering if we serve him loyally. But I know deep down that there's no escape from this place, no way to break free from the hold he has over our minds. We spend what feels like an eternity in the madman's lair, serving him without question and watching as the other victims continue to decay and rust away. We become a torrent of rust, our bodies decaying and rusting away as we are consumed by the poison. I can feel my mind slipping further and further away from me, and I realize that I might never be able to escape this place. The madman has complete control over us, and there's nothing we can do to break free. But then, a glimmer of hope emerges. One of my friends manages to resist the madness and helps the rest of us do the same. We start to remember who we are and what we've lost, and we realize that we need to find a way to escape the madman's lair. We make a plan, devising a way to fight back against the madman and his minions. We gather whatever tools we can find and steel ourselves for the fight to come. The madman's minions are everywhere, their eyes glowing with the same sickly green light as their masters. But we fight back with all our might, using everything at our disposal to take them down. As we make our way through the lair, we start to see glimpses of light up ahead. We realize with relief that we might be close to escaping, that there might still be a chance for us to make it out alive. We push on, fighting through the pain and the madness, until we finally emerge from the lair and into the light. We stumble out into the open air, our bodies weak and our minds barely functioning. But we're alive. We've managed to escape the madman's lair, and we're free from his grasp. We look back at the tunnel, at the rust and decay that seems to be consuming it from within, and we realize that we've been through a nightmare that we'll never forget. But we're alive, and we have each other. And for now, that's enough. As we stand there in the open air, gasping for breath and trying to process what we've been through, a voice of reason emerges from one of my friends. They remind us of who we are and what we've lost, and they help us to resist the madness and the poison that still lingers in our bodies. We realize that we need to get as far away from the madman's lair as possible, and we start to make our way back up to the surface. It's a grueling journey, but we're determined to make it out alive. We can hear the madman's voice echoing through the tunnel, promising to lead more lost souls to their doom. But we push on, our minds focused on escape. As we finally emerge from the tunnel and into the light, we realize that we've been underground for what feels like days. We're weak and disoriented, but we're alive, and that's all that matters. We make our way back to civilization, seeking help and trying to make sense of what we've been through. We're haunted by the memories of the madman's lair and the horror we experienced there, but we're also grateful to be alive. As we talk to the authorities and try to piece together what happened, we realize that the madman's lair was just the tip of the iceberg. There are other lost souls out there, other victims of the lead poison and the madness that seems to be spreading through the world. But we also realize that there's hope. We can fight back against the darkness, and we can help others who have been consumed by it. We can be the voice of reason that leads others to freedom, just like our friend did for us. And so, we make a promise to ourselves and to each other. We promise to never forget what we've been through, to always be vigilant against the darkness, and to never let anyone else fall victim to the madness that almost consumed us. It's a long journey ahead, and we know that there will be more challenges and more horrors to face. But we also know that we have each other, and that as long as we stick together, we can overcome anything.